This is the new Chevy Express. Just picked it up, got a crazy good deal on it. But now we got Primo here. Primo is getting it ready for the liner. But as you can see, there's brackets that they're gonna cover up. These brackets are what's gonna hold all the fixtures in place. But he basically just scours the whole entire thing and preps it ready to go. But we got to make it like a bathtub. That's what he's gonna do. You can see he's taking off the stepping, the steps plate there. It's gonna all be replaced with the spray-in liner. And you're gonna see we're gonna have our water-fed pole unit all mounted inside here instead of on a normal trolley. And so it's going to be a much more efficient method. It's not going to be so heavy. And the other thing is, as you saw inside with the bar stools, how it's real flexible. Since it doesn't crack or corrode or anything like that, it doesn't peel, it's going to be able to handle the amount of water that's constantly flowing through here. So if you're setting up a rig like this, and you're thinking just a bed liner's a bed liner, you got to make sure you get something that's not going to crack on you. Especially if you're in a hot desert climate. Rick, if you're in is it just the desert climate, or what causes cracking? You see the other bed liners that do crack all the time.
Mostly solvents.
Solvents.
Yeah, solvents dry out, and then you're left with a product that is subject to the extreme dry conditions that we have here. Not many hardwood floors are even in the Phoenix area because of that factor. So all our chemicals are solvent free, and they last from 400 above to 40 below zero at 80% flexibility. So really extreme environments is what this product's designed for.
Well, that's exact. In fact, here's a finished product of what it looks like when it's on a hard surface. And even though, you can kind of see this is extremely quite thick. This is a little thicker than normal, it looks like.
Yeah, that's double thickness. Of course, they take a fire hose and clean these parts up. We haven't had one area come loose, and this is number 72.
Oh wow!
Of the giant trucks that work in the mines. So this is made, and we specialize for industrial strength coatings. That's all we focus on.
And that's important when you're using it day in and day out. You invest money on a lining, but if it's no good in a year or two,
a lot of compounds are real kind of economy based. This costs a little bit more, but it does so much more than the typical liner, only because it's just formulated to be more chemical resistant, longer lasting, shine longer as well. The new technology affords us that. Polyurea is real moisture insensitive, so you can spray in humid days like today.
Yeah. You can't tell, but I'm soaked from just taking. I was basically putting all the brackets in on here, and it's so humid out that when I lifted up the drill, I got sweaty. But the thing is, and we know from experience in our other one, is that the water, when this gets wet, the water does not absorb one iota. So if it didn't have this texture on it and it was wet, even with it wet, it's still pretty slick because it doesn't allow the water to make it tacky or anything. So that texture is really important too for.
And what happens, why the typical coatings or polyurethane coatings are actually non-waterproof.
Oh, really?
The first generation bed liners were polyurethane, and those use solvents. So it would be that solvent would evaporate, and then what happens is you still have areas for it to come in porous holes, pores. And so when the solvent dries, it will gas, and then it leaves open holes to water can penetrate. We quite literally, in the first generation liners, would peel out bed liners and see rust under the surface. And polyurethane also is a good technology, but it's not made for waterproofing, plain and simple. And a van like that, if we've done thousands of carpet cleaning vans, and there would literally be rust on some of the first generation bed liners. So the polyurea is a complete waterproof membrane, which again, another advantage of trying to do something good for the for the world, you know, taking away the solvents. Of course, it makes you have a better product in the end, and so it's a win-win for both.
Well, that's cool. Well, I'm gonna leave this with you for a few days. You'll see how these components all go in. We opted to go ahead and just bolt them in at the end. So we're gonna spray these all separate, and then we'll set it in there. And I think when we're done, this van may be the window cleaning machine. You might not even have to do anything. You might just pull up to the job and it'll clean itself. But you can see here there's a spot they're gonna put a bar. This is the before, but there's gonna be a bar back there that'll keep, if any water pools up, it won't allow it to get up to the cab, because it'll set the airbags off apparently if it gets water up there. So that's something I didn't know about. Luckily they've done this before. We'll see you when you're done.